Hello everyone, I am back and I'm going to show you where I am. I've been working on the fender flares for the C6 to C2 Grand Sport conversion. And I used two different methods to come up with this. This first side, the driver's side, is the one I did first. And I kind of patched it together with little pieces from the C2 fender flares and then made an overlay on top of it. So that's what you see here is the overlay. There is a gap there where it wasn't right no matter what I did, so I need to make a piece to fit in there. But the rest of it is where it would be if I create it this way. So let me show you what this looks like. Okay, so I did this side, and then the other side, I tried to not make so many little pieces. So it is actually the back piece off of the C2, the front piece off of the C2, and then I just overlapped them until I got the gaps where I wanted them, or where I thought I wanted them. So this is what this side looks like. All right, so now my decision is which side looks better, which side should I copy. I just need to make both sides look the same. Now it's not perfect, it's I'd say 80% there, but of course it'll be perfected once I decide which side to do. I just needed to get both sides mocked up so I could see what they look like. All right, let me point out the differences that I see. So one of the things is on this side, the passenger side, I ended up mounting the back of the fender flare right here straight to the inside where the C6 fender is. Okay, and that just ended up being convenient, and I thought, oh, that'll work real well. Well, now that I've done it, I think that gap on the back is a little bit bigger than I want. Then on the top, I like the top. I really want it as low as possible, and I think right now it's pretty much, let's say, even with the top of the tire, and I really like that. The front, I like the gap there as well. I like to keep my gaps between the wheels and the fenders as small as possible. Obviously, ideally, I'd like no gap, but that's just not practical. So this is as close as I think I can get in places, except for that back gap. Let's go over to the driver's side, and we'll see it's slightly different. There is less gap at the back. There's, I measured, it's 2 fingers. The other side's 3 fingers, so about 3/4 of an inch difference. And then if you look, you can see right there, sure enough, it's slightly in front of where the C6 fender would be. Okay, and then on the top, it's got a little more gap. The other one was right at the top of the tire. This one's a little bit, I can stick my hand in between here. On the other side, I cannot do that. I can't get my hand in there. And then the front, it's, let's see, 2 fingers. So it's a little wider too. Now ignore this part over here. This is where the fender flare, the lower spoiler, is going to go. So that's going to have to be reworked. We're doing the lower spoiler right now in a candy red tinted carbon fiber, forged carbon fiber. So it's being worked on now. I had to remove it to do that work. So it's going to fill in that gap there. So it's only significant right to here. And then below here is not finished. So I'm thinking ideally what I'd like to do is for both sides to have the narrower gap in the back and the narrower gap at the top. And it'll make it look like the car's sitting lower because it covers more of the tire. It's not going to be easy to do, but I think it's worth the sacrifice. All right, so let's go back over here so you can see this side. So now that I pointed out the difference, you can see there's the bigger gap in the back, less gap on the top of the tire, and then less gap at the front of the tire. So I think that's what I want, except for the less gap in the back. Should be relatively easy to do. I should be able to, right now everything's just screwed together, so I should be able to remove the screws, move move that piece forward about 3/4 of an inch at the back here, right here. So I think I can put, let's say a 1x2 in between here. That'll space it forward a little bit, and that'll give me the same gap. This will have to be moved forward, and then of course these screws will have to be taken out and moved forward. I don't think it'll be a big deal, but anyway, before I do that, I kind of like to get opinions on how it looks. Let me go ahead and walk around it so you can see what it looks like. And again, the edge isn't perfect. That'll get fixed in a little bit when I do the final version. And then there's that gap there that'll have to be filled. And then there'll be a slight radius in between where the fender flare starts and the actual side of the fender is. And let me back up so you can see it. One of the things is it has to be straight, vertical, up and down. Otherwise it looks weird. This one might need the bottom end moved in about 1/4 of an inch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a wooden template, and I'm just going to place it along the side here, right along this side, parallel to it, and then I'll make sure all of these edges are flush with that. So here's the view from the front, slightly off to the side so that you can see what it looks like. All right, compare that to this side. Let's go up and around. So this side has been converted to carbon fiber on the upper fender. The other side has not. That still needs to be done. The other thing is the vents while I'm here. The late Corvette vents are the vertical vents. It's got 5 of them. If nothing else, 5 seems like a bit much. Might knock that down to 3. But the current plan is to put the horizontal vents there instead. I'll show you those later, but just thought I'd mention it since we're looking. All right, and this is what the fender flare looks like from the back at this side. And again, I'll fill in that gap in between the top piece and the bottom piece. But there's no point in filling that in if I was going to change the shape or the location or anything like that, because that filler panel is dependent on that. The seam right here, body line, is wrong on the C6. You can see from the mold put on there, on the door that goes over there, there has a skin that goes over it. It gets raised up that inch so that the body line matches all the way front to back. Again, the same thing on this side. This one does not have carbon fiber yet. It's still fiberglass. We're going to do a skin over this in carbon fiber and then take off the fiberglass and replace it with the carbon fiber skin. So the idea of this is to get everything like we want it. Won't have to be perfect because again, we're going to put a skin on top of it, but it has to be good enough that it won't take days and days of sanding. I'm trying to do this without using any body filler whatsoever. So far I've been able to do it, so I'd like to continue. Any of you that have ever dealt with body filler, that stuff is unbelievably heavy. So it's kind of silly to go through all this trouble to put carbon fiber on it and then just slap on some Bondo and fill in the gaps. So I'm trying to do it to where it won't need any of that. All right, that's what I've got. So go ahead, give me some feedback. What do you think? Which side do you like better? How would you like it done? I need to do this in the next day or so. So that's why I'm filming this now, so that I can get some feedback and make a decision. All right, like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks, share this thing. I could use some more audience. All right, talk to you later. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you don't know Jack. Bye.